plus Outre is the title that I took from a New York Times interview, entretien on New York Times, for how do you call the feature article that they did for me, and they interviewed Jean-Claude. I first met Jean-Claude in 1992, I think, at Karma at Stanford or San Jose. I forgot. For ICMC, because we were on the same CD. This one, it's an old one. This was absolutely the first time I've ever composed anything with electronics, and he was on the same CD. So we met, and it turned out I was going through so many emails from him. It turned out that Max Matthews wanted him to meet me because I do strange things on the violin, as you heard, subharmonics. So anyway, so there was a story on New York Times that this writer, critic Matthew Grevich wrote, and here I discovered he forwarded me the entire email, and it's huge actually. You know what? I'm just gonna say, yeah, it's just like he wrote a huge email. This is between the critic and Jean-Claude, and it goes on and on and on. And he explained a lot of things that didn't go into the article itself. Sometimes maybe I should. This should be documented somehow because I have so many interesting stories and ideas from him. But anyway, so what he said and the critic took of me, of Jean-Claude, was that he said that plus outre, going beyond, and that's exactly how I see him as a pianist, and I never knew anyone with his musical ability back in the 90s who were also in computer music. So, and I was, probably the only classical violinist who's doing things like that. So I felt very kindred. We can talk about the same language in musically speaking, which was very nice. So I'm going to talk about two things today. I was going to talk about the variants and what he wrote. He wrote two works for me. One is the one you heard yesterday, variants for violin and violin and processing. Another one is the violin concerto that he wrote. Unfortunately, it has not been performed anywhere else but the premiere, which was in Tokyo. He wrote about this to that critic again, but you don't have to read it. But this was commissioned by the Suntory Music Foundation in Tokyo, and we premiered it in Suntory Hall in Tokyo with Tokyo Symphony. And we start to talk about this back in 2005. This is Jean-Claude and I. My husband, mon mari français, il est chercheur de informatique ENRIA à cette époque. Donc on était au Mont Sartou, au sud, près de Sophia Antipolis. Right? Anyway, so we're talking about that. And this is the premiere. It's a bad photograph. But then Toshiichi Yanagi, mon ancien prof. So we had a really nice discussion about that. So my mission today was to try to ask you for help in getting this wonderful concerto performed. But then Marta asked me to show the motion sensor. So I'll try to do both. And the motion sensor I used yesterday, I'm calling it the music. I'm told to put the TM on it, so I just did that. And then this was started with my collaboration with Eurocom, 2007. And the picture you saw in the New York Times, that was still Mo, the modular musical object, right? Which won the competition United States, I think, and it was shown in MoMA and so I've been concertizing with that, the Mo sensor, 6 axis sensor for about 5 years. Then now I moved on to a more recent version. Let's see. Okay. He and I and Pierre Coupry played together for the first time. We met in January with Asayag, Jared Asayag, for Improtech IRCAM. But already 2015, I'm now using a prototype Arduino sensor that you can just buy. You have to make them. It's cumbersome. But anyway, so it looks like this, and was helped by the New York State government. And then I've been concertizing that, and then I start teaching other instrumentalists to just learn what the gesture means, if it means anything, for any other instrument, because I'm just a violinist, but other instruments, I don't know how things move. So this is like my field study, lobster in Maine. And then last year, after Donald Trump, I got very scared. So I'm on a carte verte, I'm on a green card. So I was offered a position at the University of California in Irvine, and they gave me tenure and the top professor rank. So I moved to California. I thought it would be the safest place to be. And then, my professional reason was that they have excellent engineering program. So now I'm working with that's a student. There's a place called the CalIT2. It's a California Institute for Telecommunication and Information with a UCSD, and UCI has a conglomerate. So I've been given a second year of a prototype research grant. So this is the first year we're going to start out this coming year again. And then I also recorded an album of all my works that uses a motion sensor. And since it's working, I guess I'll try to show you. I didn't have any sound check, so we'll see. It happens. So Georges Bloch just mentioned me the antiscoffle. I am not using antiscoffle, but sorry. This is a piece that I wrote. IRCAM actually using their sensor back in 2010, I think. Where did it go? Oh. I'll show you. Okay, so it looks like this. It's called canon elastique. It's a elastic canon, which means I'm playing the first voice, but I can change the second voice time with my motion sensor. So, which means I can change my past, which is such a great feeling. I really like the concept of changing my past. So I'll try to play that a little bit if it works. And I didn't have sound check, so we'll see. It's a very ugly max patch if you don't mind. Okay, don't stop working. Okay, I'm not going to even unhook. It's usually sans fil. It's wireless, but this morning I'm just going to be safe and ugly. Okay, so it's working. Okay, can you see that? Okay, you can see it. Okay, so how this works is that it's ugly because you're not really meant to see it. I get to see it, but you are friends. So this is basically like a ring buffer, but I'm cheating. And I'm playing the buffer one after the other. So the blue bar goes and green bar goes to watch the speed of the buffer as I play. That's easy to say, but okay, let's see. Do I have sound here? So I'm going to play that for 6 seconds, and then I keep going, but then this will shrink, and I change my past. So the piece is in ABA format, and I'm right now in the B format. And do you see the number 2 right there in the middle? I'm counting the number of down bows or something like that. So I'm using a pitch harmonious, synchronous harmonization. It's an object called psychoitrist from Mica. And every time it counts to 8, my harmony changes. So if I don't want to change it, I just don't change my bow. So, and I can just go to the bathroom and you'll be stuck at this. See, it's moving. At 8, it changes. And so on and so forth. And then go back to the, that buzz is really something else. Okay. I think it's the, this connection. Anyway, so you can do things like that. More kind of a cheesy example would be, I've done this before. This is a some bossa nova tune by Carlos Jobim. Wow. Ew. Cannot be helped. So this is a quantized piano MIDI track, but if I can control the speed so that it's like a following. I can be in any choreography, or big or small, Or when I'm 97 years old, I'll be like, it's the quality of the movement and not the size, or so it can be as old and slow as small, or any choreography. It's like the left hand of the conductor, I think. So on and so forth. You get the idea. So that kind of a non-score following, and I call it a flow following, because as a performer, I'm not trained as a performer, so it's really weird to have a score. You play this and you play that. It's like walking with a friend, left, right, left. It's like that. So you're walking and talking with your friend, and he drops something, you kind of stop, and not exactly the same, but kind of going together. So this is a weird interaction, because computer, this little patch, the computer is not listening to me, but watching my hand, but I am listening to it. So it's kind of very much like when you're playing with a pianist. Pianist is back there. I can't see him, so I'm listening to him, right? And then the pianist can see me, so he can kind of go like that. So it's very very natural to me. I don't have to conduct or anything like that. So that's sort of a way I'm doing it. Okay. So just to show Marta, she asked me to. So things like this. I have a bow change, down bow, up bow, and the steadiness control is the most important. I asked Frederick Bevilacqua, what does it violin do? So it sustains. It's not a pluck instrument. It sustains. So can you tell me how long I'm sustaining in any speed? So this is like my sustained motion, right? So as I'm moving in the same speed, it is now 700, 800, 900, and so on. And as a moment I change my direction, it goes back to 0. So what you just heard, that bossa nova thing, was I just mapped it to the notes, length of the notes, to the possible tempo change, and very fine control, agogic, sorry. So anyway, this also has a pizzicato control and so on. I'm not going to even bother going full screen, but I've been working with visual artist. The one you saw yesterday, he's a physicist artist in New York, and he does. We collaborate on the audio visual. So something like this. Let's see if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. Something like that. Oh, you can't even see it. Okay, it's too low, too light. That's okay. But so if I go like this, I don't know if you can see anything here. So this is like a Chinese character for storm. The top character is the mountain. The lower is the wind. So mountain and the wind means storm. That was a poem by a female one of the first female writers in 700s? 清少納言ですさ、700年だっけ忘れちゃった。I'm sorry. So that kind of thing you can do. Anyway, so I think that's enough for my motion sensor stuff. So I'm going to go back to, yeah, so Jean-Claude and I, we wrote a paper together about variants and a scheme. And let's see. I've been reading a lot of emails by him, and he really wanted this piece to be performed in the United States, and we have not been able to get the orchestras to be interested. It has not been performed in France either, so at least he's approached Gilbert, Christoph Eschenbach, and everybody, Jarvi, and everybody. So it's a beautiful piece. And it's absolutely the first concerto. I wrote a concerto for myself, but other than myself, he was the first composer to use my harmonics in a concerto or something like this here. That's me, and that's a low G sharp. So it's very very romantic concerto. And so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a very. I think it's quite sensual for for his music. And 4 minutes. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So please, if you know of an orchestra that would like to premiere this piece in Europe, I would very much like to collaborate. And I think we owe it to Jean-Claude to do that. So he said that he asked me to write a cadenza for that piece. Well, this got published in a Strings magazine because he was the first cadenza that uses a. I wrote this cadenza for myself. I don't need a motion sensor anymore. So I just play this for the last thing. And let's see. I have to go from. Oh, I showed you. You know my harmonics, right? Or do you need to see it? You're good.
No,
okay.
Play the index.
Okay. Okay. So this is a middle C. Didn't practice yesterday. The G. And I also have a different intervals, such as the third. That's really hard to get. The newest one, even harder, is the fifth. Oh. There you go. When I'm old, I'm just going to use the bow and never mind about the left hand. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm trying to find a fourth. It's not there yet. Maybe when I have grandchildren, maybe I'll get my fourth. If I have an octave and a fifth and a third, I should have a fourth, right? That's what I think. Anyway, okay, so let's try to play this thing. Thank you. Is it good? Okay. And then the orchestra comes in. Oh, there's no sound now? Okay. So that's me with the orchestra, and I'm playing the lower notes. So he was doubling me with like a really low trombones, and that's me, right? So contrabass and me. So okay.
I'm afraid it's all the time.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any questions? You can.
Des questions? Bah, peut-être, Laurent, tu peux t'installer et le temps que tu t'installes, on répond des questions.
Merci. What is the relationship with the images in your piece of yesterday? The movement and the music, what is the relationship with the images or the projection?
Oh, yesterday there was no interactive. I was playing along with it, so it was just a movie, and we worked out the sections. So we talked about the artistic relationship, but I was not triggering anything. It was about global warming, obviously. So, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, on entend, oui, le temps que Laurent s'installe.
Oui, c'est juste à propos de ces phénomènes, les sons très très graves qu'on entend, et que les musiciens et nous tous, on appelle des sous-harmoniques. Je voudrais juste dire que ce ne sont pas, au sens strict,
des sous-harmoniques, mais ce serait intéressant d'étudier ces phénomènes, parce qu'ils s'y mêlent des doublements, triplements de période. Il peut y avoir aussi le mode de torsionnel de la corde qui interfère avec le mode longitudinal, enfin, il y a plusieurs modes vibratoires dans une corde. Et donc, ce qu'elle fait, qui est extraordinaire, qui sont véritablement des sons qui enrichissent beaucoup le répertoire du violon, ça serait intéressant de les étudier, parce que le terme sous-harmonique est un terme qui réfère aux harmoniques avec une série inférieure, et c'est pas correct sur le plan de la physique.
Oui. Did you say that? It's some of the arguments we had, because when you say harmonics, it's but flageolet or is a musical term, so I use it as a musical term, which is not a scientific term, because you don't say pluck string for pizzicato.
It would be interesting to have a new word, a new.
Yes, the physicists call it anomalous low frequency. Yes, but that's not a musical term. I cannot say
It's
that.
very, very fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. When I first did it, composers were not interested, violinists not at all, but the physicists went crazy. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.